You're listening to a Rare Drop podcast. Check us out at raredrop.co.
When your coffee is freshly roasted and ethically sourced, it's music to your ears. Shake up the way you wake up at kingscoastcoffee.com.
I did not. I'm sure you take daily stuff. Vitamins and stuff.
I take an obnoxious amount of vitamins.
Yeah, dude, I take regularly. I will take zinc, D3, and vitamin C every day. Every day.
So I take, welcome to episode 44, Cold Open. I take,
literally.
I take magnesium.
Yeah, I got to start upping that.
I take zinc.
Mm-hmm.
I take vitamin D. I take a men's over 40 multi, which ironically, my men's multi expired 3 days before I turned 40. Well, it didn't expire. I finished it 3 days before I turned 40. Then I go to the store and they're right next to each other. I'm like, this hurts. But yeah, I'll take the 40 plus. Man. So I take that. I take raw B complex.
Nice.
And then I take this it's like an all natural energy booster. It's not like testosterone raw or the commercials you see on TV. It's just more of a natural, vitamin driven energy booster. It's got all sorts of stuff in it. I take turmeric, oregano, and then I take this thing called Wobenzyme for my joints.
Oh, okay. You're not a fish oil guy?
I think there's fish oil in it. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's a full multi. Okay.
Pete showed me he takes the Jocko version.
Yeah.
So I just took the picture to my health food store. I was like, I need something like this, and they gave me that. And you can take up to 12 of them a day. But it really helped me with my tennis elbow and now my shoulder.
It's so funny. I was talking to I call him my cousin. He's technically my wife's cousin, but we're tight. And he's big into bodybuilding. And he's a RN. So does his research. He understands what he's looking at. And it's funny because if you look at like a fish oil solely, and the suggested amount for a day is whatever it is. Dude, most of the time, that's not even fucking close to what you need to actually do the job that it says it'll do. Like, you need way more for that intake for it to be, which kind of sucks that you're not getting it, but you gotta research on top of your research. It's pretty nutty.
Yeah, no, it's I got an article in my thing yesterday. It was like turmeric causing, liver disease in multiple people. So you just got to really keep an eye out and
But see. Is it though? But is it?
It's only 5 people, so.
Yeah, I'm just being facetious. You know what I take when the second I start to feel sick, like a scratchy throat, anything. This is gonna sound really homeopathic of me. I take this stuff called Umka. Ever hear of it?
I have heard of it.
UMCKA. By Nature's Way. UMCKA. I get the hot drink. If I feel even like a tight congestion, dude, I will drink 2 or 3 of these a day, and I swear by them. At my job, the only time I've been out sick was COVID. When I got COVID. That's it.
Umka.
As soon as I start to feel a type of way, I bang the shit out of this stuff plus my vitamins. I'm golden. Whatever it is, it's out of here in no time.
Okay. I can get behind that.
I swear by it.
I usually hit the emergency.
I take 1,000 of C every day regularly. So I still take all my regular keep healthy vitamins, like stay away sickness vitamins, but then I use the Umka on top, and that stuff is amazing.
And then I have Manuka honey.
Oh.
It's like a bioactive honey.
Now, is that everything I understand about honey? Correct me if I'm wrong. This is probably not entertaining to anyone right now, but
I don't care.
honey is the most beneficial to you when it's locally grown, right?
You need honey that's within a certain, I forget what the mile radius is.
Right, okay.
If you want to prevent things like allergies and things like
Yes.
that, you need honey that's grown, that is not grown.
Right
but,
next to you.
Yeah, made within a certain radius.
Your
of you.
region.
Manuka honey is different because it's like bioactivated. So it, here, let me look it up. And then we'll start the show, I promise. Benefits of Manuka honey. It's from New Zealand. Boop-a-doo. You can get it at any health food store. Okay, so rich in antioxidants and vitamins, hydrates dry skin, soothing in a face mask. Didn't even see that one. Uses a spot treatment. Great pre-workout booster. Didn't know this. Might start using Manuka honey as pre-workout. That would be fun. First thing in the morning. Didn't know that either. Post-workout recovery. And it's a great afternoon snack. Remedies. Boost your immune system. Great in warm tea, which is how I have it. It's a calming and sleep aid, and it's soothing for all sore throats. And then you can cook with it and whatnot. So I only knew the remedies. I did not know that you could use it as pre-workout and whatnot, but that makes sense because it does have an energy booster. So
I've been really high on non-stimulant pre-workout.
I hate my pre-workout. Hate. And I only take it if I feel like it's going to be a rough day, and I'll take it real quick.
I take non-stimulant pump enhancement pre-workout.
Okay.
The non-stimulant, man, all day long. I love it. It's the first time I've taken a non-stimulant one, and it is amazing. Freaking amazing. If you want that little bit extra, like you like that tingling or you want a little bit extra kick, you can add your stimulant to it still, right? But the non-stimulant that I take, so good. So good. I at first I thought it was kind of a placebo effect, right? Because anytime you take a new supplement, which is why you should never take a bunch of shit at once, new. Like never take a bunch of new shit that you've never done at once, because now you don't really know what's working and what's not for you. And don't forget, you're constantly changing the chemistry of your body the more you're taking this shit. So you should be really careful, whether it's over the shelf or not. Like, you need to be careful with it. You're constantly changing your chemistry. So I added this new pre-workout to my regimen and my stack, and I assume going into it that, yes, there's going to be some placebo effect because I bought a new product. I'm taking a new product, and in my mind, I'm hyping up this product. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually working out harder in the gym, anticipating this supplement to, like, you know, be your boost, which it's not. You're just working out. You're working out like you should work out every day, hitting it hard like that. So I give it like a solid, 2-3 weeks to the hype to kind of wear off. Dude, I get the same performance out of this stuff. I'm hooked. I love it. That being said, if you're interested in this stuff, keep in mind that everyone's going to react different. But for me, it's amazing.
Okay.
Absolutely amazing.
I find that interesting.
It's not cheap. Here, I will.
While you're doing that,
I'm going to link it for you in our chat.
You can also, if you need a stimulant, drink King's Coast coffee.
Ooh, what a perfect slide in.
There is about 100 bags of mango honey left as of the time of recording this. There will definitely be less by the time you hear this. So I suggest you get yours ASAP, because by the time it goes to Saturday, our cafe is at its busiest, and they are planning on putting the remaining bags out for retail consumption, and they will be gone, and you will not be able to get mango honey until this time next year. So I have warned you. Get your mango honey. It's on sale now. kingscoastcoffee.com. Last chance. Just saying.
It's the stuff. It's called Gorilla Mind, or no, the company's Gorilla Mind. The product is Gorilla Mode Nitric, which is the stimulant free. Yeah, I use the Firefly lemonade.
I would do fruit punch.
Just be careful, because I don't like super sweet. If it's a pre-workout, anything I'm drinking, I do not like super sweet. It just turns my stomach sideways.
Tim gave me his fruit punch for his BCAA because he really didn't like it, and I was like, it's like a morning Mai Tai. This is fantastic. And I was like, Tim, do you mind? I put rum in mine. Is that acceptable for the gym? And he's like, Kevin, you need to stop.
Yes.
And I'm like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. You ever bench press drunk? Shit. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I would try a non-stimulant because I think that's the thing that I can't stand about pre-workout.
Makes your heart fucking feel like it's gonna come out of your chest, and
yeah, I don't like that feeling.
Yep. Not to mention, I just love coffee, and this is not just a generic plug. I like drinking coffee, and you got to kind of manage your caffeine intake, right?
Right.
So if I could save my caffeine intake for my pre-workout, which a lot of times that's what your pre-workouts are going to have a lot of caffeine in it.
Right.
Then I can still have my cup of coffee when I'm done, and I can still get my swole on.
Get your swole on. Well, let's transition from swole to nerd shit. House of the Dragon wrapped. The reception was huge. Ryan Condal, the remaining showrunner, because Miguel, I think his last name is Sapochnik, quit, which is interesting. I don't know why. I don't know. But Ryan Condal said he was actually shocked at the reception of House of the Dragon and how popular it is.
Why? Why would you be shocked?
I think all of HBO.
Amazing.
I think all of HBO was just worried that they had burned the bridge with season 8 of Game of Thrones.
See, here's the thing. People forget how much love there was for the journey.
It really was.
There was so much love for the journey that the show is amazing. It still is amazing. And if you've never seen it, you got to, the show is great. You can binge the whole thing. The fact that the last season felt like a letdown doesn't mean that the entirety of it was. The show is great. It's widely loved. There's no reason to think that a show about dragons in that universe wouldn't do well.
So we're going to talk, there'll be spoilers in our conversation. So if you haven't watched or you're waiting or whatever, just know that we're going to be talking about the end of the show. I find it interesting that we had season 8 of Game of Thrones. Everyone hated it. This show pops off. Everyone loves it. We can't wait for more.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling, and my vibe is that because George R. R. Martin was more involved in this,
you could make this argument,
than the later seasons. I mean, to the point where he texted Patty Considine, who played Viserys, and said, "Your Viserys was better than mine." Just saying, like, you involve the guy that created the world, and all of a sudden things are working out, and there's changes made still to the books. Mm-hmm. But George said he, for the most part, he was fine with them, which is interesting because there's groups that, for instance, the Valyrians aren't black
Purists.
in the book. Yeah, and there's groups out there, like fandoms and whatnot, people that have worked with Martin that are like, oh, the Valyrians aren't black in the book. I'm like, the man literally was okay with it. At that point, you can't, like, I feel like all cards are off the table. Like, you don't have a leg to stand on anymore. If he wants to change the source material to adapt it for the screen, he has every right to change it in every way possible. So, and now apparently, I keep hearing conflicting reports, but Corlys might get his own show.
Ooh.
Yeah, like
that would be cool.
Yeah, it's like the Sea Snake and like the Voyages of the Sea Snake or something.
Naval combat? Yeah. Again, like these ideas, like why? Like this is so cool.
Well, we're going to get naval combat in the Dance of the Dragons, so you'll see it in the coming seasons. Because the Lannisters,
cool. Especially when you start getting bad guys like early on. What was the crab guy's name?
Oh, the crab feeder.
Yeah, when you start getting fucked up villains like that, you could put that in. I mean, pirates. You're introducing pirates. That would be sweet. It would be incredible.
I think overall, everyone. I think it was also great for someone like me that wants to enjoy nerddom in general. So you had Rings of Power, you had House of the Dragon, you have Andor. They dropped all 6 episodes of Tales of the Jedi, by the way. I know your son likes Clone Wars, so you should definitely watch those with him. Came out yesterday. It's just like really, really fun right now. All these nerd shows. Willow drops right after Thanksgiving.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so
I completely forgot about that.
There's all this great stuff. Bad Batch season 2 is right after New Year's. There's all these great things happening within all of these IPs that I love right now. So it's just exciting to see it all going down. But at the same time, I think it was bad for shows like Andor and Rings of Power to go up against Game of Thrones. And I don't think it was bad in the sense that people can't help but compare. And that's all the media did, was compare all of the shows. And they, Andor is the lowest, the least watched live action Star Wars show so far on Disney Plus. And everyone's like, oh, it's over and this, that. I'm like, no, it literally comes out on Wednesday. Friday for 7 weeks was Rings of Power.
Mm-hmm.
And Sunday was House of the Dragon. Like, most people aren't going to do what I do. Most people don't host a Star Wars podcast. They're not going to get up at 5:30 and watch the episode on Wednesday morning. Most people are not going to do that.
This is the advantage for consumer, disadvantage for the platform owners, is that it is streamable. I don't have to watch it right now. I can put something on the back burner and watch it later because I pay for that, right? So yeah, if you're putting it out and the consumer only has so much time, they're going to prioritize.
Exactly.
And they're going to come back to your show if it's not top of their priority list later. Now, disadvantage of that is you better hope that they do, because something new might come out to take their attention away. But let's come back to these numbers in a few months and see, because then everyone's going to be able to catch up. You're going to have time to catch up. So it's not, in the world of streaming shit, it's not entirely fair to say, like, off the rip, this is a failure. Well, let's see what it picks up afterwards, because hardcore Star Wars fans are going to watch this before they watch,
Well, I told Tim,
Lord of the Rings.
I told Tim on Star Wars and Scotch that we're also, Thanksgiving break is coming. Excuse me. Thanksgiving break is coming. Christmas break is right after that. How many people are like, oh, I'll just watch it over Thanksgiving. I'm off from work.
Of course.
I'll relax and, pound
because
out all
you
the
have
episodes.
that option.
Right. Granted, it's like 35 minutes to an hour each episode, and there's 12, which is going to be great. But most people are probably, not most, but a large chunk of people are probably saying, like, oh, I'll just watch it then. It's fine. I'll just watch it.
Right.
Over. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like you said, we're in the age of streaming where you have that ability. I did that with The Expanse. I didn't watch The Expanse until like 3 months ago.
Right.
I'm just watching, what's the other HBO show? The Flight Attendant.
I haven't even seen that.
That show, if you want like a murder mystery plot twist, just like fun adventure, that show is fantastic for that.
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't even know they had a season 2, so I just finished season 1 last week, because it's one of those shows I watch when I work out and whatnot.
Interesting.
And I finished season 1, and I was like, oh, there's a season 2. I thought the show just came out. So that's how behind I am on the things I do want to stream. There are 6 second seasons coming for things I don't even know. But that's just the mindset we've created. There's no more, I have to DVR this or anything like that.
Yup.
You can just go find it. There's an app. I think you have it too, because Pete showed it. It's called Real Good, REEL Good. You just type in the name of the movie or the show you want to watch, and you plug in which platforms you own, and it'll say it's available on these platforms that you own. If you don't own it, or if it's not available on a platform you own, it'll say it's also available on these platforms, or you can rent it or buy it on these platforms. Mm-hmm. Or it'll just say, like, this show is not available anywhere. So yeah, it's that's how I feel it went up. But with that in mind, and this is what I was getting at, if you are going to sit there and compare it to all these other shows, House of the Dragon became people's priority. That was the show they had to watch. Yes. That was the show that, like, literally on Sunday, Pete was popping memes into our chat. 3 minutes. I am not exaggerating when I say this. 3 minutes after the episode ended, he was popping Aegon memes into our chat, and I was like, who made these? How? Like the credits are still on. Like how?
It's actually Pete pumping them out.
It probably is. He just didn't want to say it.
It's Pete pumping them out.
He's just
putting them out there.
There on meme generator, just boom. But I thought it was a great cliffhanger. I liked how the last 2 episodes, one focused on the greens and the other one focused on the blacks. That way it was, you got to see fully both sides prepping for this war that neither of them want. I mean, we're getting it now. You just killed her kid.
Right.
That look at the end was like, I am going to murder each and every one of you personally. So, but the exciting thing I think is going to be, and this is, I think, a season 2 early thing, is going to be the rush to do what Damon's already doing and get as many dragons as you can to fight for you and to bond with your family. Mm-hmm. Now, I was trying to count, and I know this information is available on the internet, but I feel like the blacks have more Valerians that don't have dragons that can bond with dragons than I think the only one that doesn't have a dragon on the greens is the sister, who I also believe is Aegon's wife.
So the
one that likes the bugs.
Yes. So the real question is going to be where if they have more to bond, the fighting is going to occur over spawn locations, right? To video game terms, because they obviously know where these eggs are. Because you saw what's his face go in and grab.
Damon and Rhaenyra have all the eggs at Dragonstone, right? And they have Viserys' dragon, which was the one he was singing to, was also at Dragonstone.
Okay.
Because Dragonstone is the ancestral home of the Targaryen. Well, after Valyria, home of the Targaryens, so they have their own dragon pit there. The dragon pit at King's Landing was built.
Is that the only place that eggs are being produced?
I think those eggs that we saw are the only eggs that we know of at the time.
Currently, right? That's the latest clutch.
Right, but it also says that eggs could take up to 100 years to hatch, is what we learned in Game of Thrones. Because that's her 3 eggs.
They could be far outside their generational.
Right. Now, all of this is readily available if you don't want to speculate or if you know already. You can go on Wikipedia. You can read Fire and Blood. This is all information. The question becomes, what is Ryan Condal going to change? That's the question. Like, what is he going to make a little bit different? He already, the end of this episode, which is the huge catalyst, in the book, Aemon purposefully kills Lucerys with Vhagar. Like, it is not an accident. He kills him and then goes back to King's Landing. He's like, I killed my cousin. In this, we can clearly see he did not mean to kill because they were both yelling at their dragons, listen to me, listen to me. And both dragons went rogue, which to me goes back to the beginning of season 1 when Viserys said that our power over the dragons is merely an illusion. Like, we have a bond with them, but we do not control them. It's more of a partnership and less of a control thing, but the realm doesn't know that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that comes into play, because I feel like the dragons going rogue wasn't... I feel like Viserys saying that these dragons going rogue, I feel like there's going to be more of that. And to my knowledge, and you can correct us on socials, Old Fashioned Pod or Old Fashioned Podcast, to my knowledge, that is something that's not really played out in the books.
That relationship?
The fact that they, like the dragon, they don't control them.
Right.
It's, as we saw.
I can't speak. I haven't read the books. I don't know.
Well, the Fire and Blood book is apparently a lot like the Silmarillion, where it's more of like a history.
Oh, okay.
And then the Fire and Blood book is a historic recount from a maester. But that maester is telling the story after the war, and there's a lot of bias, allegedly, from that maester, because I don't want to say who wins in case you don't know. But the winning side, like that's who the maester is. So the theory is that Martin and Ryan Condal and HBO are using this, saying like the canon actual story is what's playing out on the show. So the book is this biased retelling of the story where the Greens are painted as the bad guys.
Okay.
And this is more the true story where the Greens aren't as bad as they seem and the Blacks aren't as good as they seem, type of thing.
Such is life.
I'm one of the other funniest things that I keep laughing at is all these TikTok videos now are coming out where everyone's like how disgusted they were at first that Rhaenyra was marrying her uncle, and now they're like hashtag Team Black, and you know, like yeah, like everyone's like,
of course there had to be incest in this, right?
Well, they're kind of cute, so. The meme that Pete sent that made me laugh, and this is so dark and so evil, but it only fits on this podcast, so I'm going to say it here, was the one, you know, the one where the guy like is holding the hand of the girl and he's like looking over his shoulder and looking at, you know, the other girl walking by him. And he was Game of Thrones House of the Dragon, and then the girl he was holding hands with was oh shit, now I gotta find it. I forget what the one that he was looking away. I gotta find this one. It was too good. But yeah, overall, I really, I'm excited, and I think they earned the trust back, and that's why they put like 7 new Game of Thrones shows on the docket.
I think they earned it. I kind of find it disheartening that they lost it to begin with, I guess. Again, I look at all those seasons, and that was a lot of seasons of just fucking home runs. And the last season was, meh.
Here it is. So it's Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon is the guy. The girlfriend he's holding hands with says titties and wieners. And then the woman walking by him says like 7 miscarriage scenes. And I was like, oh my God, that's fucking dark. But I'm laughing.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, and if you're new to this show, like Mike and I have an obnoxiously dark sense of humor. So that's just a little taste of our dark sense of humor. But yeah, that one
too good.
That one was just way ridiculous, but it was too funny not to bring up.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So, and the other big thing that they changed from the books was the king knowing the Song of Ice and Fire, that something bad will rise in the north, and that the king of Westeros has to, or queen, has to be able to unite the realm against what's going to come from the north. You know, and at the end of the day, we all know Jon is the one that's like the Song of Ice and Fire, because he is truly the Song of Ice and Fire, because he's half Targaryen and half Stark.
Have you seen these? A lot of people now are reaching back into all the seasons of Game of Thrones, and they're bringing forward lines and stuff said by certain characters that are related to exactly what's happening now, or what was like foretold, or well, I guess pre-told, or. No, Game of Thrones is in the future of this. So
Game of Thrones is like at this point, like 160 something years or 150 something years in the future.
Ahead.
Yeah.
So it's like them recalling back to what was history then and showing it play out now.
Well,
it was really cool.
If you're paying attention at one point in the show, Princess Shireen, Stannis' daughter, tells this entire story in 3 minutes.
Yes, that might be what I'm referring to, because they put it out on. I keep seeing clips or whatever it is, reels, whatever the fuck, whatever, like mini short platform video.
Yeah, because she's a history buff.
And I was like, so she's like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, she's like, oh, the story of Princess Rhaenyra and, you know, all that stuff. So they're just telling that story. There's lots of things that will come out in the future, as long as they keep. Because now you've proven this. You've proven that we had Marvel. Marvel was the first proof of concept that you can take an IP, you can make all of this TV and movie content around it and keep an ever-growing story. You know, one of my favorite Marvel memes is kids in 2035 having, you know, 600 Marvel movies and television shows to watch just to get started to keep the journey going. But that's what they're doing. They're making this evergreen storytelling. Now, other IPs have tried and failed. I will say Star Wars has not nailed it yet. They're just starting to get their footing with television, but they haven't added movies to the mix in a cohesive way the way Marvel has. DC's has been an abject and absolute failure, which we'll talk about later in the show. But now you're seeing Game of Thrones, I think, is the second big one to come in and be like, cool, we can tell other stories in Westeros now, and you're going to get more content because of it. Netflix has the rights to Narnia.
Ah, yes.
So I'm hoping like each book of
Yes.
Narnia is a season of a show. I think that would be great. 7 seasons, boom, done. Have a nice day. And for those of you that are like, oh, it's stupid Christian allegory. If you haven't read all the Narnia books, you probably should, because by the end of the world in Narnia, which is book 7, some dark ass shit happens, and it's really, really, really good stuff. Also, if you're like Lord of the Rings, Tolkien is, and they were buddies and they wrote together. And that's what Amazon wants to capture with Rings of Power. And that's actually what Netflix pitched the Tolkien estate, and the Tolkien estate was like, whoa, we don't want to do this.
Idiots.
Yeah, so I think, but that's the way stories are going to be told as we get older and our kids grow up, is you're going to latch onto an IP, and then they're going to create all of this content surrounding that IP to keep you immersed in a world that you know and tell new stories to you.
Well, that's what's so nice now. It's so nice about it, because, I mean, growing up, it was just Lord of the Rings movies, and what you got was it. Unless you read the books, right? Yep. And that's it. You're done. Oh, I really love this world. I love what's going on. I want more. Well, you didn't have an option for more. No more. This is what we're giving you, and you're done. And that's because that's all that anybody had. That's all they had access to. And now it's grown, and you can have more, and you can have lots more. And I'm glad that it's like this, because you're diving in. It's just a matter of whether you're happy with the direction that they're diving.
Right, and it's because the nerds now, like the ones that us, our age, a little bit older, that grew up with comic books, reading Lord of the Rings, reading Narnia,
right,
reading Song of Ice and Fire, we're in control now. We're the consumer, we're the director, we're the executives in the boardroom. Like it's us now, and it's like, oh well, there's all of these stories that are untapped. We don't have to keep telling.
Yes.
We don't have to keep remaking, The Longest Yard.
They're aware of that now.
Over and over again, every 30 years to, tell a story. Like there's all of this untapped potential. Whoever gets to things like Warhammer 40K and wants to pay the obnoxious, because that's the problem with Warhammer, is Games Workshop is super picky about who touches their IP, and then their licensing fees are insane.
It is so comical that they are like that, because
somebody's going to pay it.
Yeah, but the amount of shitty games that they allow to go out is absolutely comical, that you would not want an Amazon or a Netflix to make it, whether it's live action or animated adaptation of your worlds is fucking stupid.
I'm excited for Star Wars, and I'm hoping Game of Thrones and HBO start following us, because I know the next IP to follow down this route, it possibly is Fallout. But adding video games to your television show, movie canon world, Star Wars was one of the first to do that when Knights of the Old Republic and stuff came out back in the day, and they're doing it again now. The next slate of Star Wars games that comes out like over the next few years, and we saw it with Jedi Fallen Order, the sequel, they're all canon. They all play into the story.
It's all more storytelling.
Right, and you get characters from the world that like Saw Gerrera is in Jedi Fallen Order.
For people like you and I, and people who listen to us, I imagine that benefits us greatly, because we consume every bit, right? Whether it's movies, TV shows, video games, we get to consume all of it. Other people maybe not so much. Maybe they're not into gaming, and they don't get that extra part of it, so they kind of miss out on a leg of what's going on. But for us, that's incredible, and I can't tell you how excited I am for another Battlefront game.
Well, most people our age play games in some way, shape, or form, whether it's mobile or console. Xbox put out a report saying that the Xbox Series S is selling so well right now with that Game Pass bundle.
Of course.
Because people like the idea of like, I can plug this in, I hook it up to my internet, and I'm done.
Mm-hmm. I have a whole catalog I can play.
I can do cloud gaming and not download it, which right now, cloud gaming, Xbox claiming 22 million people use cloud gaming. If I'm one of those people, I'm a very unhappy consumer, because cloud gaming has never worked for me. So far, the only cloud gaming that works really, really, really well is GeForce Now. GeForce Now is incredible. That is like black.
Isn't that funny? No one's talking about that.
It's like black magic, dude. I have no idea, no input
no
lag
one's talking about it
whatsoever. It is the only thing. I got the Logitech G Cloud. The only thing that works on the Logitech G Cloud, Mike. The only thing is GeForce Now. Everything else is input delay, doesn't work, garbage, whatever.
And what is GeForce Now costing right at the moment? Is it $5?
You can do it for free if you want. If you do it for free, you don't get access to one of the 3080 rigs. You can only play for an hour before you have to reset and do that, and you have to wait in a queue. So if you want to try it to see if you like it before you buy it, go try it. Go try it right now. Go download it. Go have fun.
Crazy.
Go nuts.
But no one is talking about it. I remember early on that it was brought up it was brought up every once in a while, but it was always in comparison to, or rather it was like a excuse the expression, I'm forgetting it, like a tail, like it was chasing the coattails of Stadia and
whole different animal.
And Microsoft and cloud gaming.
Whole different animal.
But it was always talked about in the conversation with those two. It is what it, but no one is talking about it right now. And it's like, you're missing out.
We worked with a company called Shadow that basically runs on the same process, but it's a fully functioning PC. So you could do work remotely that way or however you want using their remote in PCs. And the GeForce Now technology is exactly the same. You're using one of their gaming rigs. But the thing that I don't understand is the input lag. Like how? It just doesn't make any sense. Every other cloud gaming thing, Xbox cloud gaming, every experience I've had is absolute dog shit. I've tried on a laptop, G Cloud, you name it, different networks, everything. It's always dog shit. I hate it. It's terrible. The Steam Link and stuff, it's okay.
I had Steam Link. I had the original, the rectangle that you got.
Remember that? It's okay.
I had that hardware. It never really worked that great for me. But I mean, even before that, before Steam Link, PSP had remote play. Remember that?
Yes, and that actually worked decent. It wasn't great. It was decent. It was playable.
If your home network could handle it, it was pretty good. Then you move forward, and PS4 released again remote play to your laptop, where you could have your PS4 on and you could remote play to a PC, or I would do it to my laptop and use a controller. Right? They had that. Then you fast forward to Steam Link. And here we are today. But it makes... Why would you not... If you were to break it down to a consumer, right? NVIDIA makes the GPUs for this stuff. They make the processors. They make all this other shit. Why would you not want that company? And I'm not an NVIDIA fanboy by any stretch of the imagination. I think their price points are garbage.
Right.
Garbage what they're charging for GPUs right now. And there's a reason why your third-party card sellers such as EVGA, which we haven't touched on in this show yet, are pulling out. EVGA is done. Fuck NVIDIA.
Yeah.
I don't blame them. It's sad to see EVGA, because I have an EVGA card and I love it. I'm still running a 1080 Ti because I have an EVGA for the Win 3. It's phenomenal. And it's sad to see them gone. And I think NVIDIA is what they're doing on that business end. It's sad as a consumer to see that, because I'm like, you guys this is dog shit. But if you're talking about get the best graphics you can as a cloud customer, why would you not consider them?
No,
no one's talking about them. It's crazy.
It's like the best kept secret. And like I said, if you're getting a Logitech G Cloud,
no one's talking about it.
GeForce Now is a must subscription for the Logitech G Cloud, in my opinion. And apparently you can use Shadow, what I was talking about earlier, on it too. Everything else was not ready. All of the Xbox stuff, I cannot for the life of me get my Xbox Series S to connect. I've tried it on two of them because I have the office one and the one at home. I cannot get either of them to connect to the G Cloud.
Frustrating.
It gets stuck. It says hit enable. I hit enable on the Xbox, nothing happens. So, and apparently that's an app issue, because people have had the same problem with their phones, because the G Cloud at the end of the day is literally, it's a gamepad with an Android tablet base. So you can play mobile games, like I have Diablo Immortal on mine and whatnot. But yeah, the Steam Deck, we went way off course, but this is a fun conversation. The Steam Deck is great.
I want one, dude.
For
They
what it
look
is.
so good.
Now, I have Gotham Knights on my Steam Deck, and we can talk about Gotham Knights in a second. And you have to keep it on like medium to low settings and whatnot. But you have to remember too, because people always bitch about this. That is a small screen. It is a big screen for a portable device. It is a small screen. So if you're playing at
You don't
720,
need high resolution.
if you're playing at 720p with medium to low settings,
It looks okay. It's good enough.
it is good enough. That is my point. It is good enough. It is good enough to say I have a fully functioning computer in my hand while I'm laying in bed playing a brand new PC game with high restrictions.
AAA.
Yeah, and you know when you look at an old game and you're like, there's no way that game looked like that. Like the old Call of Duty or Medal of Honor or something like that. You're like, there's no way that game looked like that. Because the way I remember it is way different. That's what it reminds me of. Because after like a 30 seconds of being like, this doesn't look like it looks on my PC, I forget. And I'm just literally Nightwing running around Gotham beating the shit out of people.
I'm not gonna lie, as well, I just told you what card I'm still running, right?
Right.
It is not top of the line anymore.
No, I have a 2080 too.
Yeah, I honestly, any FPS player will tell you if you're competitive, you're not running shit high anyways, man. You're running any real gamer goes to lower settings because you get more frames per second.
Right.
Right?
And you can react to things much quicker.
Right. So I'm downgrading a lot of my stuff anyways. I'm not saying that's how you have to play, but so the flip to that is if I'm playing a game like The Witcher or if I'm playing a story-driven game, I would like my shit to look as crisp as possible. Right?
I might go to a 3080 like maybe sometime next year because just now I'm starting to see that the 2080 is starting to like it's starting to get up there on demand for performance.
20 series seems like a tough nut to crack because that was a high price point and they haven't seemed to gotten away from it. And early adopters were like, yeah, I looked at the 20 series and I was like, dude, my 10 is still, for the money, is still outperforming. Why would I upgrade? Honestly, the only card I would be interested in right now is a 3080 or a 3090, 3080 Ti or a 3090. And I would try to get the EVGA card, honestly.
Might be hard
but
now.
Your best bang for your buck is the Founders Edition from them.
Yeah.
Which we could talk about that. When we touched on it briefly, I touched on it with the NVIDIA being fucking shitheads. They are selling their processors to these third-party companies, and then they're actively undercutting the companies.
Yes.
With their FE line. So it's like, what? Why would you stay? Why would you stay? You can't look at EVGA and blame them for the decision they're making because, why would I put R&D into a product that you're just going to undercut me on?
Right.
But that used to be the whole benefit of buying third-party cards.
Right.
Was they put better research and development into their better cooling, and you almost guaranteed a better processor, right? And all this other shit. It doesn't make sense now because the FE cards are straight undercut, and these companies are just losing money. From a business standpoint, why would you stay a partner with them?
Yep.
Sad.
It is. And, I think NVIDIA is in a place where
what they're charging for 40 series is laughable.
It's not even a thought to go get one for me. Now,
No.
if I'm in video production or something like that, I'm building something in Unreal 5. I went to a tech conference on Friday, and there's so much cool stuff coming from Unreal 5 that has practical, real-world case uses, especially in VR and places like that, like the medical industry, military to protect people, things like that. Then you go out and you get a 40 series because that is important for you to stay at the forefront of technology because that's your business. One company I met with, and it was really just because I was interested in the product, not like business-wise, but they're coming up with ways. They're creating the Ready Player One scenario so surgeons can learn in VR how to, do their craft, but it has things like haptic feedback and whatnot. Sure. So they're developing that technology. Yes, you're going to go get a 40 VR series. Training. But you're going to go get
for those
40 series because you're at the forefront of bringing humanity to new levels, and you need the greatest technology there is, and even the slight performance boost from the 40 from the 30 is going to make a difference in your world.
Sure, but
If you are playing COD casually,
you don't need a 40.
you can have a 2080 Ti and you will be fine.
I'm running it on a 10, and it's, dude, so far, I will say this, so far, because I mean, I don't, have you started the campaign yet?
Nope, I'm literally downloading the game right now. I just got
I'm
my
not
code
gonna
this
lie,
morning.
man. I'll tell you what, they really optimized it. So far, it is not, my rig is handling it phenomenally.
Yeah.
I am very impressed at the optimization so far.
Yeah.
To circle back to what you were saying, dude, it is so fucking sad. It is so sad to see NVIDIA literally making PC gaming unaffordable. It is not
the
in
illusion.
Your best interest anymore.
The illusion. That's the problem. It's the illusion, because what happens is then you have companies like, I love Meta PCs and Zach and that whole crew over there.
Right.
But now they have to keep up with market demand, so they have to go after 40s and put them in their high-end PCs. You know, Power GPU, Jesse's doing the same thing. He has to go and keep up with market demand and put the 40s in there. And then it becomes a competition.
Right, and how much more do they have to charge now to keep their company running?
Bingo.
And now they have to compete against other companies who do the same thing they do.
Meanwhile, I'm the guy that's like looking at their inventory like, you got any new rigs with those 30s in there that you got lying around? 'Cause I'll grab one of those.
You need to get them before they're going off the market, and it's scalpers aside and crypto miners aside, like, yeah, that's
even dead.
Huge problem.
That's dead now.
Thank God. Like fucking those assholes. And it was off the top. It was everything. It was PS5s, it was GPUs, it was just everything. The scalpers were just fucking horrible the last series. What they're charging, man, I paid, which I thought was a lot at the time, for a flagship TI card. You could not get higher than a 1080 flagship card. I paid $700 for.
And that's not bad.
Double. No, compared to today, they want double for that shit.
Yeah.
It is crazy to me what Nvidia is trying to charge for a card.
Yeah.
It is absolutely insane. And Intel, come on. Not that I'm an Intel fanboy, but let's get more GPUs in the market to be competitive. Let's force them to drive this shit down. They won't.
Correlating statistic. PlayStation and Xbox finally have enough units to meet the holiday demand this year. They're both saying there will be plenty in the market. You'll be able to go to Target or, Toys R Us or whatever and grab one off the shelf.
Color me not impressed.
And put it under your tree. But it's 2 years too late. That's the problem.
Exactly. Because you know what's going to happen? You know exactly what's going to happen, Kevin.
Well, no, because
what's going to happen.
The retailers, because they're selling them physically, like Amazon and them will only get so many. So Target, so you're literally going to have to have a team of people, which again, it will happen. You're right. To go in there and buy, because they're limiting them to one each.
We hope. And on top of that, what happens to every console midlife?
It breaks.
Well, what do the companies do midlife of a product?
Oh, they do not the next gen. They do the enhanced version of the console.
They do the midlife upgrade.
But here's the problem. This is the first next gen console we've got that acts just like its predecessor, has slightly better processing power. And granted, I can see the difference between a previous gen and this gen, but so many people didn't care as much this time around.
I mean, when it was unattainable, why would you care?
Right. And then the punishment on that end is, when they have these annual games and they're like, oh, Madden's going to be the previous gen version on PC. And it's like, why? PC has better hardware.
When they release, PS5 Pro or PS5 Slim Pro Ultra, whatever the fuck it is, it's coming. It's coming.
No, it's been announced that both of them have stuff in the pipeline for next year.
And if you haven't purchased a PS5 yet, why would you not go for the new one with the updated shit? is what you're going to go for. And there's going to be no stock of that.
They're also they're also raising the price of both consoles next year.
How much? 100?
I didn't say. It just said there will be a price increase after the holidays.
Raising price increase of the base unit or the pro unit?
To meet inflation, yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, you dirty sons of bitches, man. To meet inflation costs. Really?
Yep.
Really? People who were clamoring for these for how long now? And they fucking couldn't because of you pricks. And now you're going to raise the price. Fuck you. Fuck you. What does it cost them to build these shits? Nowhere near what the fuck it costs to sell, to what people are paying for it.
I mean, the funny part is they say they lose money on selling
Get the
consoles
fuck outta
individually.
here. Yeah, I know. Fuck you. We literally just said, what's the performance upgrade from a 4 to 5?
It's I don't know the exact stats, but it's things like lighting and
Nobody gives a shit.
frames, and until some of these games start using Unreal 5, which only a few are at this point, you're really not going to see the major differences until that happens.
Is Xbox raising their prices?
Both of them are.
Dude.
Xbox kind of did this thing where they got everyone
$600 now for a PlayStation?
I think is it $599? PS5.
Yeah. Current. So it's going up to what?
They didn't say.
So it's undisclosed pricing that they could change at any time.
I mean, the interesting thing is you're hitting the point where these consoles are going to cost as much as a PC.
Old PCs.
And you know who
PCs
doesn't
now.
You know who doesn't care about that? Microsoft.
Current PC. Well, yeah, of course, because they win on both ends.
They get you coming and they get you going.
Yep.
PlayStation, Nintendo. Well, no, PlayStation is the one that has to stay in competition. Nintendo is their own ecosystem. They don't have to do anything. They can do whatever they want.
Nintendo can, with why you never see Nintendo titles go on sale. Nintendo
my God.
titles never depreciate. You will pay full price for every Nintendo title.
I should have sent you this thing. There was a video last night. Remember in Dark Knight when Joker slides down the slide like of cash in the warehouse?
Yeah, okay.
And he gets to the bottom and he goes, "Where's the Italian?" Someone had that, and at the bottom it says Nintendo when they need a cash infusion.
Awesome.
Where's the Italian? Because it's true. They just here's Mario's dick butt game that we pulled out of our ass.
Dude, any Nintendo IP, you will pay full price forever, always.
All right.
Every once in a while they'll run a sale, but it never. It's not like you can. The only time you're going to get a Nintendo IP on sale is you go to GameStop, you buy it used.
Before we run out of time on all of the other stuff we wanted to talk about, so this week it was announced because the Warner Brothers Discovery merger has been a nightmare. If you're a fan of DC, I'm a huge Batman person, so it's been terrible to watch.
Oh,
but what?
I talked about this with Paul, but I didn't talk about it with you.
What, this merger? The
No,
announcement?
DC in general, and where they're.
Well, it was announced
What they
this
should do.
week. Ironically, on the same day that they announced the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, which I am insanely excited for, because Kevin Bacon, just Kevin Bacon, not Kevin Bacon as a character, Kevin Bacon himself is now MCU canon, because apparently he's going to get kidnapped by the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it just seems hilarious.
That's awesome.
I think the premise is that Star-Lord is a fan of Kevin Bacon, so
Naturally.
Drax and Mantis go and kidnap him to make Star-Lord happy for the holiday. I don't know. It just
That's incredible.
looks hilarious. Anyway, but it was announced this week because, as you know, James Gunn is on his last Guardians movie. Most of the actors that play the Guardians said like they can't do it anymore. Like Dave Bautista literally said like I can't. It's very difficult to get in Drax shape for me at my age because he's almost 60.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Pretty impressive.
And I know Bradley Cooper's done. So I'm sure they're either going to kill them and do a multiverse switch to bring in new Guardians or something like that, whatever it may be. But it was announced this week that James Gunn will be the co-CEO of DC. It was announced yesterday they're not calling it the DC Entertainment Universe anymore. It's just the DC Universe now. So it's DCU, MCU.
Okay.
And James Gunn is basically going to be in charge in the way Kevin Feige is at Marvel.
Interesting move.
Which apparently there was a whole thing with Kevin Feige this week where they showed him the script to the new Avengers movie, and he threw furniture and told everyone, I hate this fucking job, because he hated the script. He said it was terrible. So apparently they're going back to the drawing board to rewrite the entire script to that Avengers movie. Yep. I saw that this morning.
Holy shit.
But Kevin Feige also said, and I quote, I'll be first in line to see anything James Gunn creates for DC.
That's a compliment. Wow.
It is. I mean, the guy did
a huge
3
compliment.
amazing movies for him. Suicide Squad, the second one, is so good.
That's what I want to touch on with you. That's exactly what I want to touch on with you.
Go ahead.
And you've said it in the past, and I wholeheartedly agree. What DC has that MCU does not is phenomenal villains.
Oh, the Batman Rogues Gallery is the best in all of comic bookdom, hands down.
Phenomenal villains. Why do they not lean into that? What villain like Suicide Squad did phenomenal.
Even in Gotham Knights, you're on your way to meet Harley at Blackgate Prison, and Red Hood says like, "Yeah, Harley got major credit for time served because she worked on some government shit or something." Like little Easter egg.
But you have all this, right? You have the bad guys who are like borderline anti-heroes because they're doing shit for the government and this and that, right? Why are we not leaning into that so
I mean, they
hard?
did that with Joker, the movie.
But that's what I'm saying. These hugely successful have been villain-oriented, villain-based. Even my kid, as much as he loves Batman, he is nonstop with the villains, which kind of concerns me a little bit to a degree. But he is super into the bad guys.
I mean,
and he knows.
I love Joker. I think Joker's character, even the different iterations of it, it's really hard to fail because the setup for him has just been so. And the older he gets, the darker they make him.
But is there not just there's so much? It feels like unwanted MCU potential in the villains.
Well, they also need to be brought into the new era, the same way that Matt Reeves made the Riddler for the Batman.
Right. But how many fucking Batman movies have we had where it's about Batman?
Not enough. No, I'm kidding.
But for real, it's like a gold mine in their villains.
That's why I think you should make for a while at least, separate Batman from DC, the rest of the characters. Because Henry Cavill's back as Superman, but he said he's going to be...
Gold?
Well, he's going to be making appearances. He's not getting his own movie or show at the beginning or anything.
Okay.
So he's going to be showing up in everyone's movies, which I believe he's in Black Adam, but I'm not 100% sure.
I heard really good things about.
Well, Black Adam's another Joker. I hated the Joker. I've said it a million times, but regardless of my feelings, media hated it. Fans loved it. So Black Adam is following that trend. But I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, so
Rogues Galleries.
Yeah, the enemies they have, but the ones they've explored, some of them kind of suck.
Sure.
Like Black Manta in Aquaman, I was like, is he really the best we could come up with?
Right. Yeah, it can't all be bangers, but they have such a huge. I don't know. I look at it and I'm like, man, let's scrap the 4 kids portion, right? Because let's face it, your target audience right now is not looking for a PG rated film.
No, in DC, definitely not.
No. So lean into it. We're doing R rated across the board, and we're going with.
You can still make stuff for kids. Look what Marvel does.
Of course.
They make Spidey and Friends and all this stuff, and then you can sell the merchandise. You can sell the merchandise. That's what they care about.
He eats it up. But you're trying to recapture audience. You're trying to bring a level of trust back. Like, who looks at a DC movie right now, aside from Batman hardcore fans, and is excited? Like, no one fucking talks about DC.
They did Titans, the show that was supposed to be the darker version of Teen Titans. It's on HBO. I forget. I think it was WB before that. It's called Titans. It's just called Titans.
I didn't even know that was out. My kid loves Teen Titans.
So the season 1 apparently is a train wreck and it's terrible. And their whole hook was that it was supposed to be the world without Batman. That world without Batman. And, you know, even in the trailer, this is the most edgy, like teenage, like drama, like thing I could see. And the reason I haven't watched it yet, but now I'm being told season 2 and 3, and they introduced Red Hood in season 3, like got so much better. But season 1, there's this clip where Robin like whips around all dramatically and he's like, fuck Batman. And like does this thing. And I was just like, I am not watching this. This is like Twilight for... But then everyone said, okay, yes, you're right, season 1, but season 2 and 3 like really ramped up and got better. And then, like you said, they brought Red Hood in season 3. So that
I mean, even in the cartoon, he was constantly trying to. There's even an episode of Teen Titans where they get rid of all the good guys, like they get rid of the superheroes so that they could be the superheroes, and the world just goes to shit.
Right. So, you know, they're exploring that. I think James Gunn is the catalyst, though, because like Suicide Squad was just the first 10 minutes of Suicide Squad just set the tone.
It was great.
Why the old movie?
I hate Weasel.
Why the old Suicide? Because he made it as it was essentially a sequel, but it was the same name as that one. And then, you know, he like killed off all the characters except Harley that were in the previous movie in the first 10 minutes. Remember?
It's pretty cool.
It's just funny. It was very funny and done very well. And I think that's the tone that DC. I think Matt Reeves' portrayal of Batman was perfect. You know, the Riddler, the Penguin, they all just fit into that world so nicely. So that's why I say separate them, make a Gothamverse, because Batman can exist just fine on his own. He does not need the rest of DC. Well, that's where they were going. That's where they were going.
Yes.
Because they were going to do the Gotham PD show. They're going to do the Penguin show. And Matt Reeves was supposed to be in charge of all of it. And make a second Batman movie.
Yes.
And then let the other DC, bring Gal back. Bring her back.
Yep.
She's a great Wonder Woman. Bring Jason Momoa back. He's the only thing on the planet that can make Aquaman cool. There's nobody else.
True.
Bring the kid in that played the Flash on the WB. Bring him in to replace the psycho Ezra Miller. The guy who plays M'Baku in Black Panther, the big, huge guy, he should be Green Lantern. John, I forget his name. But now they announced yesterday that that's the Green Lantern they're going to bring to live action. So I'm so excited.
Yes.
I'm like, please cast him. He would be the best Green Lantern. So bring him in. Bring Ray back to play Cyborg, because now you got rid of the toxic people that were at the top that he had all the issues with. And then you have Henry Cavill back as Superman. There's your Justice League.
Done.
Be done with Ben Affleck. Cut him off.
Please.
Let's push him to the side. Let Pattinson, you know. And then if you do a full Justice League movie, that's when you bring Pattinson in and combine everything. James, I'm available if you need me.
If only, man. If only.
I'm more. I will work on any DC project, anything Batman. You and Matt just call me. I'm all for it. I will help. But yeah, like that, and so. Yes, I think they need to go darker. I think they can make shows for kids to sell the merchandise they want to.
Yeah, that's not hard. I mean,
they were supposed to reboot Batman the Animated Series and do like a new version of it, but bring back Paul Dini and the folks that originally wrote it.
That'd be cool.
And my son is now getting into Batman. You know how long it's taken me to try and get him to watch the animated series? Now he's watching it because he was looking over my shoulder the other day when I was playing Gotham Knights, and he was like, "Who's that?" I was like, "That's Robin."
See.
And he's like,
Grayson
cool.
would love it. I'm just concerned about. I say that because I say this kind of tongue in cheek because he watched Clone Wars, which is super dark.
Yeah, by season 3, that gets fun. But Grayson can handle Batman the Animated. I used to watch Batman the Animated Series with Audrey when she was like 5, and it's still one of her favorite shows.
I think the Killing Joke and shit.
When she found out that it was on HBO Max, she was like, "Dad, I need your HBO Max login. I'm just gonna." And she was like, "Yeah, she's 18, so
I'll put it on when he gets home from school."
Yeah, I mean, there's dark episodes, but it's not dark. It's dark by like 90s cartoon standards.
He's not going to grasp it.
No, and it's just fun. Like we watched Hunter loves the Joker in that, and I'm like, that's the guy that's Luke Skywalker. It's the same person. He's like, what? No way.
What? Yep.
Yeah, so but he thinks the Joker's like funny, and I'm like, well, he's not funny per se. He has funny moments. But yeah, they
Incredibly
had a
disturbed.
hilarious episode where one of the other gangsters leaves Joker like all these millions of dollars. And then halfway through the episode, you realize that it wasn't all real money. It was half fake, and Joker's blown through most of it. And now he owes the IRS more than what he spent because he filed his taxes based on what he thought he had. So now he's got to go back to his life of crime to like
taxes.
Because he's like I may be crazy, but I don't mess with the government. Like he says a line like that at one point, or I don't mess with the IRS, something along those lines. It's very funny. But those jokes go over their head. They're for you and me.
Right. But
yeah, no, Batman the Animated Series is in my opinion, it's one of the greatest superhero animated shows ever made. It's like a 97% or 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, if you want to have some fun, you go to HBO Max. You watch the animated like Killing Joke. That's rated R.
See, that's what I think about. 'Cause that's great. But that's where my mind goes with like...
DC's never had a problem with making good animated content. That's actually been their bread and butter. Marvel struggles harder with making animated content than DC. DC just needs to get live action under control, and I think James Gunn is the one to do that. So
I'm excited.
We'll see.
If anybody to do it, it would be him.
Let's talk. We're going to save COD for next week. Before we get out of here...
Oh yeah, we'll get to play it.
Yeah. I'll play with you this week. You're not off this weekend.
No.
Well,
but during the day I am.
Okay, so we could play during the day on Saturday.
Yeah.
So Gotham Knights, you've seen the reviews and everything, right?
I haven't seen the reviews. No.
Okay, so initially it was getting ripped apart. Some of the criticism is justified. Things like the 30 FPS lock on next gen consoles is ridiculous. It does have a optimization problem, so even on high end rigs, there's frame drops and things. It's a little excessive beyond what is normally acceptable. That's my point.
Oh, geez.
If you remove that, the other I think major problem was people were expecting the next Arkham game, and that is not what this is. They make it a point because you've seen the trailers and everything. Batman's supposed to be dead.
Okay.
That's why the four are now in charge of patrolling Gotham. And they made, in the story, there's a 10-minute cinematic in the beginning, Michael. 10 minutes.
That's Final Fantasy 14 level.
So they show the story. I'm not going to... aside from Batman being dead, I won't say anything because it's just, you got to see it. It's really good. But Batman's dead. And at first I was like, is he dead? Like, oh, I'll be back at the end of the game because my body didn't appear.
Whoa.
So that there was a scene where he like runs and then that's the last you see him. I'm like, no, he's going to be back. I mean, that's obvious. And then the four arrived to where he was and they're like, wait, look over there. And you just see like his boots and his arm just bloody and ripped. And there's like debris all over him. And they pull him out and they're like picking up his dead body. Like they were like, they really wanted to drive home the fact that he's dead.
Yeah.
It's also Batman, so he could probably still not be dead. But they really I think they just wanted him out of the picture to an extent to make let the four have their day in the sun.
And so is that not being accepted?
No one cares about that. Things like the combat are what people are upset about. If you don't go in,
so gameplay mechanics.
But here's the catch. If you don't go in and dedicate time to unlocking all the abilities, fleshing out the skill trees, crafting the suits and you have a melee and a ranged option. And then some of those have elemental damage on them. So they can have fire, they can have frost, they can have things like that.
Cool.
If you don't go in and you start doing all that, you will sit there and say the game sucks because you're not getting the full experience. There's no parry. In the Arkham games, there was parry. This is a dodge and retaliate game.
Interesting.
And if you get a perfect dodge and then you hit strike, you can have what's called a perfect strike, which is essentially kind of like a parry, and it'll do massive crit damage on the response.
That sounds to me like I don't know if you played Nier, but I'm likening that to like Nier Automata.
I've never played Nier. But yeah, essentially, like if someone swings at you and you dodge, if you do a perfect dodge followed by a perfect attack, you will just absolutely crush them in the face, the stomach, whatever, and they will go flying and take crit damage.
Interesting. I'm down with that combat style.
So, and there's like nothing you can't dodge. That's the other thing. As long as you time your dodge, you can dodge any attack. So it's not like there's like this thing that you have to worry about, like dodge or block, because there's no block. It's just dodge.
Right.
So it's that, and then it's heavy attack, light attack, and everyone was like, oh, it's so basic combat. But then all your abilities come into play, and that's what I'm getting at. Each knight has their own abilities to unlock, and each one does different things. Like Robin has this thing where he like releases this, I guess, I don't know, it's like this dust stuff, and it like creates this disorientation around them. Nightwing, so far I've unlocked this thing with Nightwing. It's like this AoE strike where he hits the ground with his stick and like it like flares up and shoots out, and like anyone in the path takes damage. Stuff like that. Batgirl can hack things.
Sounds to me like they're expecting you to play the game.
That's what I'm saying.
People are very upset.
The more I'm playing it, the more I'm enjoying it because I'm unlocking more things and having a good time.
Figure.
So I think people judged it expecting it to be an Arkham game. I will say some of the voice acting is terrible. Not all of it, but some of it. But overall, and the Bat Bike could use some work compared to what you got to do in the Batmobile in the Arkham games.
I could see that as a letdown.
So, but you're not on the bike that much, especially when you unlock whatever you're traversing, because each one has a different way to traverse the city. Aside from their grapple, everyone gets a grapple in the beginning, and then you have a secondary way. Robin has a glider. I think Batgirl's cape turns into a glider. Robin has a teleport, and Jason can do this like Lazarus pit walk across the sky. Anyway, cool. So each one, and that's the other thing too. They made sure that each one felt like an individual character. So the way it works is you go around the city, you collect clues, you unlock crimes that are in progress to do things, you level up, you get points, you a lot of into a tree. Every time you go back to the Belfry, the night ends. And then you can go download all the information you collected, talk to Alfred for some of the quests to advance that plot line. Because
that's fucking cool.
Branching out plot lines now. Like I have a Harley plot line, I have a Penguin plot line, I have a Mr. Freeze plot line. So, and I don't know if they converge or anything like. According to Tim, they don't. Like there's some you can beat the game and you don't even have to touch. So
that's really cool.
And then when you're in the Belfry, you can decide which knight you want to take out for that night, and each knight then has their own. If you do something with a cutscene, each knight has their own cutscene with that individual. So like when I went to Blackgate and I encountered Harley, I had Batgirl, and she had her own conversation. I watched someone else play it, and they brought Red Hood, and it was very similar, obviously, because they don't want to deviate, but it was a different conversation than what I had.
Wow.
So the replayability, if you're really crazy, is there to go back and play as different each of them.
I'm sure there's an achievement for it.
I'm just messing around with each one. Each night I take a different one out just to screw around. There is advantage to like honing in on a character and just playing them, but I'm kind of like I like to mix it up. So that's the game essentially. And each night you go out, you do different objectives, main quests, side quests, crimes in progress, collecting evidence, and things like that. And then you go out. I would love them to bring back in the Arkham games, you had the crime scene investigations. They're very weak in this game compared to those. That was one thing I missed from Arkham. And then the only other thing is
sounds really cool.
It's fun. Like I don't care what anybody's. It's like a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10 for me, but it's fun. And there are games that don't have perfect, everything that are just fun. I'm sure some of it's my Batman bias, but it's just fun.
Yeah, but you're not going to buy this game if you're not into Batman. So,
right? Yeah,
I know what I mean. Like if you don't like Batman, you're not buying this game.
And if you're like on the fence, there's no reason to play it right this second. I guarantee you, before Christmas, it'll be on sale. Just wait for it to be on sale and grab it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a really good game to play. It'd be great, like if you have Christmas break or whatever, you got like days off and you want something to just dive headfirst into.
Elden Ring. Nailed it.
I'm 10 hours in, and according to Tim, I have barely scratched the surface of the story.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah. And that's because I'm a side quest guy. I love to go out and complete objectives. Plus, the more you do that, the more you level up your characters. By the time you get to endgame stuff, you're kicking the shit out of everything because you're like maxed out. So, and
this holiday,
There's co-op.
Oh,
So if you got it, you could join my game. I could join your game, vice versa. I was playing with Tim
Cross-play or
yesterday.
no?
It's platform specific. So Tim came into my
Xbox?
world. It scaled him down. I'm on PC.
oh, okay.
It scaled him down because I wanted to play it on Steam Deck. So it scaled Tim down to my world. He still had all his abilities and everything. If we did the opposite and I went to Tim's world and let's say we did a story quest, when I left Tim's world, it would actually ask me, hey, you completed this, but you didn't reach it yet in your world. Would you like us to mark it complete in your world? Or would you like to leave it open so when you go back, you can do it on your own? So they even give you that courtesy.
Yes.
There's no punishment. Also, there's no radius when you're in someone else's world to stay in their pocket.
You can go anywhere in the city.
You can split up and do crimes separately from each other, and you both get credit for.
I was to say, are you gaining twofold then?
Now, the only thing Tim said was his XP was really, really his gains were low because he's such a higher level than me.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That was the only thing. So the only thing we wanted to test was if I went to his world, would I get massive XP gains because I'd be fighting enemies? I'd probably be scaled
scaling,
up.
it's probably scaling the XP to you.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I would imagine.
that would be the question. But overall, I think it's fun. Watch people play it, watch some videos, but these people that are absolutely trashing it to hell, I don't think that's fair. Now on console, I've heard one person say, my friend Chris Mills, say that he was fine with the 30 FPS. It didn't bother him. He's also a Batman DC nut, so there might be bias there. So you
I can't imagine you not buying this game if you're not.
Yeah, again, explore that. I'm playing at, I have my frame rate. I capped it at 144 just in case. And then
What are you getting?
I'm getting anywhere, in a bad moment, it'll drop to 80.
Oh, okay.
But it sits roughly around 110, 120.
All day, you're good all day long.
Yep. So, and that's at high settings. There's one setting higher that I can do. I'm at high and I could go to highest.
You're good all day long.
And I could go to highest, but I just don't think the game's optimized to be on highest settings personally. That's a personal opinion. So yeah, enjoy that. So next week, Clintus should be back. We'll talk about COD because we'll all have played it by then.
Yep.
We'll talk about New World. I wanted to, that's why I left New World off of today's conversation because I know Clintus is going to want to talk about that. And then the only other thing was that I kind of just I'm not enjoying Wrath of the Lich King mainly because I'm by myself.
You know what I heard? I heard a funny concept the other day that guild gameplay or guilds in general is an antiquated
Concept.
concept.
Yeah,
yes.
I agree with that. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not like the old days.
No, but it's so crazy to think because would your experience be different if you had a guild to play in?
Yes, because I would have a very similar experience to what I had back in the day. But my problem is I'll join a guild, but the guilds don't operate like they used to. It's not this friendly atmosphere, welcoming.
It's
Let's all discover this together. It's are you going to raid? Are you going to raid? Are you ready to raid yet?
See, that's, I think, that, in my opinion, is something WoW struggles with. Because if you join a guild in 14, I don't have that problem in 14. If I'm interested in high-end raiding, I will reach out to my guild and say, hey, I would like to learn this fight. Is there anyone willing to come in? And my guild would be like, yes, yeah, let's learn it. I'll show you. Let's get on chat. Or, see, here's the other thing about 14. I could do that in public. I could set up a public party and just say, hey, I'm trying to learn. And there will be people who will jump in. But the very regimented, pointed guild seems to be a WoW problem.
Here's why. The old school mentality still exists.
Right.
If you're playing if you're playing retail, you don't go in and say, I'd like to learn this fight. They'll go, well, do it on LFR, and after you've completed on LFR, we'll help you learn that whatever extra mechanics, or look up this video on YouTube. It has all the information. No one's taking you anymore. Those days are gone. Look, I know there's exceptions to the rule. Somebody's going to tweet at me and be like, Kevin, join my guild and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and I'm sure you could find the perfect guild in the perfect scenario. The general consensus and going out and doing the extra work to find that guild is what I don't have time to do.
I will say this, and I can't remember the guild name, and I apologize. But so someone who I play WoW with, or I used to play WoW with when I played retail more regularly. I've kind of stepped away from retail as a regular in my rotation. It's more of a casual every once in a while. But I used to play with Rocket, and the guild that he belongs to, that would be the exception to the rule, because holy shit, were they friendly? Were they helpful? I mean, he was dragging me through dungeons that I was not, just to help me.
Those guilds exist, but what you're describing is how I used to play back in BC.
That guild was like, damn, like this, they are beyond helpful, beyond nice. Everything was, oh no, like I died, oh my bad, no worries, man. Like, and they were fully aware. And this is before the changes to Mythic Dungeons came into play, but they, in my opinion, would be the exception to that commonality, like that common WoW guild.
I'm sure there's plenty of that out there.
Sure.
My problem is it's not commonplace. It used to be commonplace.
It's not.
You used to see guild spam that would say like, hey, we're prepping for raid. We'll help teach you and gear you in guild spam. You join that guild. Or I would love help. Can you help? Like, what nights do you guys do this? Can someone drag me through heroics so I can get gear on my alt? Stuff like that. Now, Rob came to me and said like, oh, join our guild and we'll do this. My problem is I'll be playing with everyone's alts, and I know the consistency there will not be there, especially when Rob was like, hey, we downed Neltharion with 3 Drakes up on week 2. It's not the same thing. So I hit level set. I'm like almost level 75, and I'm just like, I'm not enjoying this the way I thought I would. My nostalgia boner is worn off.
Okay.
And I can't even get a mage. I've asked like at least 20 times in general chat and offered to pay. I cannot get a mage to port me to Dalaran so I can get my hearth there.
What?
Yeah. Like just little things like that. One kid was even like, join a guild and find that's the best way to get a mage. So at this point, I'm going to put my effort in WoW into retail because I just feel like with the skill trees coming back, things like that, it'll be more of the experience that I want, but it'll cater to me as a filthy casual on a level that I'm okay with.
That's sad that you can't even get in Gen Chat something as simple as that.
I had
How
one
often
mage.
does it take?
I said, what did I say? 25 gold, port to Dalaran. One guy messaged me back. He goes 150
to fucking spawn in and create
to click a button.
Yeah. To join a fucking instance for 2 seconds, click a button and say goodbye.
So, and now that the Dragonflight patch is down, I guarantee you interest in Wrath is going to slowly just drop until they release Ulduar.
Absolutely.
Ulduar will give it another boost when they release the Ulduar raid. So,
that like hurts my brain. My initial experience with WoW in general was super poor.
Yes.
Super poor. Dungeons was like a nightmare.
Your experience in WoW is like mine in 14.
Yeah, but it wasn't so much the gameplay it was the player base.
The people. Yeah. No, the people. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. No, the people in 14 are the freaking salt of the earth.
Like, I would join a dungeon and it was like, you deserve to burn in hell for not knowing.
Yeah, you don't know this fight? No, it's my first time.
Oh, my God, dude. You should be. You remember what happened to fucking William Wallace at the end of the movie? That's what you deserve for not knowing a WoW dungeon.
Yeah.
I was just I was like, yo, this is fucking garbage. These people are what? And the only rebuttal was, well, you got to run it with a guild. You got to join a guild, run it with your guildies.
Right. That's their best option.
And LFG is like, this does not belong in this game. This is fucking garbage. What? It's a basic ass dungeon. Why should LFG not?
Then don't do LFG. Like, go do it with your friends. That's my point.
That's what I mean. Right.
Stay out of the queue.
After I got some friends. And that's the other thing. It's like, well, just play on your own. Play on your own. And then find friends later. Okay, in the meantime, this is a horrible experience. This is fucking horrible. And it wasn't until I streamed WoW. I think you were playing, or we were chatting. We were chatting, and I had WoW live. It was back when you and I were doing MMO stuff.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
That was when I started making friends who played WoW, and we would jump in Discord, and that's when my experience got a lot better. A lot better.
Yeah.
So yeah, having those friends and being invited into those guilds. But yeah, I mean, WoW guilds are very regimented, and it's either what have you done for us lately, and what can you do for us moving forward. And if you don't have time to set aside, they'll still let you be there, but you are very much like left behind.
I should hit Rocket Man up. Which is fine
because they're what?
I should hit Rocket Man up. Maybe that's who I'll play with for Dragonflight.
He talk about salt of the earth. That he like honestly, man. Playing with him changed the fucking game for me.
I used to play with him during BFA because he would come in my chat, but we were on different servers, so he would bring his crew. He'd be like, "Oh, you need help with this dungeon? I'll be right back. Let me get 3 other people."
Playing with Rocket again, salt of the earth. Playing with him changed WoW for me. Playing with him made WoW for me. In all honesty, when I played, it was generally with him or Walrus. And it changed WoW for me.
I've offered to play with Walrus like 10 times. The guy never answers me. Freaking Walrus.
You have to insult him.
I do! Consistently!
He hits me up even to this day. He's like, in fact, the other night he texted me. He's like, motherfucker, Dragonflight, when are we mount farming?
No, all he does is when I'm streaming, he comes in, he's like, are you going to stream WoW stuff? I'm like, probably not. And I'm like, but you could just hit me up in Discord and we could play together. And then he doesn't answer me.
Wally.
Hey, yeah,
Wally.
when he
fuck your face. Fuck your face.
When he fucking called you when you were here visiting, and he was like, "Yo, you want some of this jerky?" And I was like, "Bro, you giving him jerky? You're not gonna give me any jerky?" Fucking Walrus. I haven't said that in a while. It feels good.
Fuck you, Walrus.
Fucking Walrus.
Again, Rocket. If you listen to this, if you do, changed WoW for me, man. Actually made WoW for me. That's not a slight at anybody else I play with. I love you all.
Let's play Dragon. You gonna play Dragonflight?
Yes, I'm playing Dragonflight.
Let's play Dragonflight with Rocket. Screw Rob.
Done.
Because you know Rob's gonna do the thing where he's like, "Yeah, let's play together." And then the first night when you and I log on because we were working all day, Rob's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm max level already. I'm already running mythics." I'm like, "Rob, it's been like 4 hours."
Rocket seems, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he just seems like he wants good people. He wants people to enjoy the game, and he wants people to have good experiences.
Yo,
the man will literally put himself out time-wise to help. He is just so fucking helpful.
All right, tell Walrus we're gonna go play with Rocket. I'll play with Rocket. I'll get my brother to come play with Rocket as well, and that's who we're gonna play with for Dragonflight.
Done.
Cool.
Done.
I would rather be in an established guild. I will never start a guild again as long as I live.
I guarantee you Rocket is... Oh, he's not in right now. But every time I look at Battle.net, man, he's playing. He's in there grinding.
Oh, I could message him. I forgot we're Battle.net buds. Why is Battle.net asking for age verification?
I just had to do 2-factor authentication the other night for
I have 2FA, but it's asking for... Oh, because I clicked a video. That's why. I didn't realize I clicked a video. Yeah.
So yes, all that to say, thank you, Rocket. Fuck you, Wally. And I'm excited for Dragonflight.
It's funny because I see some of my old guildies from back in the day come on. Like one of them was playing Wrath, but all the rest are just like Hearthstone, Diablo. And I'm like, man, it's just crazy how things change. Anyway, this has been a very long episode, so Mike and I are going to get out of here because I got to go eat lunch and then do work.
Oh, I got to shout out Smiling Bear as well. Smiling is another one.
Oh, Bear was always helpful. Yeah.
Smiling's another one.
Bear's going to hit us up because Bear listens to the show, and Bear's going to be like,
Bear does listen to the show.
Come play with me.
Smiling's another one that changed WoW for me.
Yeah. Bear's
just super fucking helpful there. Whenever, if I had questions, boom, answer.
Yeah, Bear's going to be all up in our thing, like, completely.
But yeah, I sorry, Bear. I didn't mean to leave you out on that. Smiling is another one who changed and reshaped my opinion of WoW.
Hands
down.
The other person that really helped me in BFA was Mitsu, was super helpful. But the problem was I was kind of leading the guild because I was the streamer and I didn't want to. And Mitsu was raid leading, and that's when I picked Shadow Priest, which was the worst DPS class at the time. So my DPS was absolute dog shit, and then they had this like dramatic quitting of the guild, and Mitsu was like, I don't know what to do, and I was like, dude, let's just let it die, and that's when I started playing with like Smiling Bear and Rocket. They would come do dungeons and stuff with me to help.
Yep, Smiling was there early when I was streaming it, and was jumped in early on.
Yeah,
to help reshape my opinion of what because honestly, man, I was going to put WoW down. I'm like, I love the idea of WoW. I love the concept. I love the way it looks, but playing, it was just horrendous for me. And Smiling Rocket helped reshape everything. And Walrus, you just made life difficult all the time.
As usual.
Well,
that's going to do it for episode, whatever this is, 44 of Old Fashioned. Mike and I will be back next week with Clintus to talk about Call of Duty, to talk about New World, because the New World expansion dropped this week. And I don't want to have those conversations without Clintus. House of the Dragon, I actually thought it was pretty good that Clintus had to cancel last minute because he doesn't watch Game of Thrones, so that worked out in our favor. But next week we'll talk about those things. Yeah, that's about it. Make sure you grab that mango honey because, like I said, it might not be there by the time you get to the end of the episode and hear this. So make sure at the beginning of the episode, your former self listened to me and went to kingscoastcoffee.com and grabbed it. You have a wonderful week. Make sure you're following Old Fashioned Podcast. It's Old Fashioned Pod on Twitter, Old Fashioned Podcast on Facebook. And, we're everywhere. You can hit that link tree on Twitter and just find all of the things. Paul wants to really do pack openings with you, by the way, Mike.
I'm down.
So just let me know. I got all the streaming stuff all set up for you and ready to go.
So I sent you the file that I had. I don't know if you had any updates to it that you want me to implement. I am down. Honestly, man, I entertained possibly booting up some like DBD later tonight for it.
Oh.
Something. I mean, don't get me wrong. I suck anymore. I haven't played DBD in a while, but I have Resident Evil 7. I want to get the new Resident Evil, just some Halloween stuff for OF Twitch.
Let me know. I'll get you all squared away.
But we are definitely doing pack openings. And I'll reach out to Paul and see when works because I have some pre-ordered boxes coming.
Yeah, he just wants to do Magic and pack opening stuff. So I think you guys should do some Magic content.
I want to touch base with him on some spell table stuff. We are implementing right now in our MTG game channel on Discord. We are doing a budget deck build.
Okay.
So the whole focus is cheap and fun, casual. So anyone who's interested, I think the deck I just bought, a full deck of 100 cards, was $40. Was the budget build.
There you go. All right, kids. Have a great week. We'll see you next week for the next episode of Old Fashioned Podcast. And I don't know. How do you want to take them out this week?
I think it's only fair to insult Walrus as we leave.
Yeah, fuck you, Walrus.
Yeah, fuck you.